The Ferrari had become a legend for all the wrong reasons. For 5 long years, it sat beneath the bright morning sun like a wounded king that refused to die. More than $2 million had been spent trying to bring it back to life. The world's most respected engineers had examined it. Luxury automotive specialists had flown in from different countries. Expert mechanics with decades of experience had taken it apart piece by piece and rebuilt it countless times. Yet every attempt ended the same way. Failure. The car would start. It would roar for a few minutes. Then something deep inside would collapse without warning, leaving behind silence and frustration. Its owner, Victoria Sterling, was running out of patience. Before we continue this incredible story, take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances can change lives. Stories like this remind us that true talent can come from the most unexpected places. Victoria was one of the wealthiest women in the automotive industry. At 46 years old, she had built a billion-dollar company from the ground up. Newspapers called her the Iron CEO because of her relentless determination. Employees respected her. Competitors feared her. But the Ferrari was different. It wasn't just a car. It was her father's Ferrari. The vehicle had been purchased decades earlier by her late father, Marcus Sterling, when he was still a young entrepreneur struggling to survive. Back then, it represented hope. It represented dreams. It represented proof that hard work could create something beautiful. Victoria still remembered sitting in the passenger seat as a little girl while her father drove through quiet country roads on bright summer mornings. Those memories remained some of the happiest moments of her childhood. When Marcus passed away unexpectedly, the Ferrari became her most treasured possession. Then came the accident. A mysterious mechanical failure during a charity rally nearly destroyed the car. The damage was severe, but not impossible to repair. At least that's what everyone thought. Years passed. Repair bills climbed higher and higher. One specialist blamed the engine mapping system. Another blamed the transmission. Others suspected hidden electrical failures. Nobody could find the real problem. The Ferrari became famous among mechanics across the country. Many called it the Ghost Ferrari because every repair seemed successful until the vehicle suddenly failed again. Victoria refused to give up. Every morning she would walk past the Ferrari displayed inside her company's headquarters. Every morning it reminded her of her father. And every morning it reminded her that she had failed him. One bright spring day, Victoria announced a public challenge. Any mechanic who could permanently fix the Ferrari would receive a reward of $1 million. The news spread everywhere. Experts arrived from different states. Television crews followed the story. Months passed. No one succeeded. Then something unexpected happened. Near the back of the company headquarters worked a janitor named Elias Mercer. At 52 years old, Elias lived a quiet life. Most employees barely noticed him. Every morning he arrived before sunrise. He swept floors, emptied trash bins, cleaned offices, and quietly disappeared before evening. He never sought attention. He never complained. Most people assumed he was just another maintenance worker. What nobody knew was that Elias carried a lifetime of hidden experience. Years earlier, before tragedy changed everything, he had been one of the most gifted automotive engineers in the country. His career had ended after losing his wife and young daughter in a devastating highway accident. Grief shattered his world. He abandoned engineering and disappeared from public life. Eventually he accepted a janitor position simply because it allowed him to survive without attention. For years he lived quietly among strangers. One afternoon, while cleaning near the showroom, Elias paused beside the Ferrari. He had watched countless specialists work on it over the years. Something about the situation bothered him. Not because he thought they were incompetent. Because they were all looking in the wrong place. For several weeks, Elias studied the vehicle whenever nobody was around. He observed repair reports. He examined maintenance records left behind by technicians. He noticed tiny details others had ignored. A pattern slowly emerged. The problem wasn't in the engine. It wasn't in the transmission. It wasn't even electrical. The real issue was buried beneath years of assumptions. One morning, during a company event, Victoria stood beside the Ferrari discussing its latest failed repair attempt. Hundreds of employees watched. Executives shook their heads in disappointment. Then Elias stepped forward. The room fell silent. A janitor interrupting a corporate event was almost unthinkable. Several security personnel immediately moved toward him. Victoria raised her hand and stopped them. Curious, she listened. Elias calmly stated that he believed he could fix the Ferrari. The crowd erupted with laughter. Some executives exchanged amused looks. A few mechanics openly smirked. After all, if world-renowned experts couldn't solve the problem, how could a janitor? Victoria stared at him. For a moment she almost dismissed the idea. Then she noticed something unusual. Elias wasn't nervous. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He simply looked certain. That confidence intrigued her. So she made a challenge. If he failed, he would return to his duties. If he succeeded, he would receive the reward. The crowd expected the matter to end there. Instead, Elias nodded and accepted. The following morning arrived warm and bright. Sunlight streamed through the glass walls of the headquarters. Employees gathered before work to watch. Many expected entertainment. Others expected embarrassment. Nobody expected a miracle. Elias began by doing something shocking. He ignored nearly every component previous specialists had focused on. Instead, he carefully inspected parts hidden deep within the vehicle's original framework. Hours passed. Then days. He worked patiently. Methodically. Like a man solving a puzzle he had already understood. Victoria watched whenever she could. For the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't experienced regarding the Ferrari. Hope. On the fourth day, Elias discovered what he had suspected. Years earlier, after the accident, a microscopic structural distortion had developed inside a custom component unique to that particular Ferrari model. The defect only appeared under specific operating conditions. It created a chain reaction that eventually caused catastrophic system failure. Because the symptom appeared elsewhere, every specialist had treated the result instead of the cause. The flaw was nearly invisible. Finding it required more than technical knowledge. It required intuition, experience, patience, and the willingness to question assumptions. Elias carefully fabricated a replacement solution. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The Ferrari started. Its engine roared to life. Employees cheered. But they had seen this before. The real test was time. 10 minutes passed. 20. 30. The engine continued running perfectly. Victoria held her breath. 1 hour passed. Still flawless. The Ferrari was driven onto a test track. The vehicle accelerated smoothly. No warning lights appeared. No failures occurred. No mysterious shutdowns happened. For the first time in 5 years, the Ferrari performed exactly as it was meant to. Victoria stood beside the track with tears filling her eyes. The sound of the engine carried her back to childhood mornings with her father. For a few precious moments, she felt close to him again. The crowd erupted into applause. Some employees cried. Others stared in disbelief. The impossible had finally happened. Yet the most remarkable part of the story came afterward. When Victoria offered the promised $1 million reward, Elias surprised everyone. He accepted only a small portion. The rest he requested be used to create scholarships for students pursuing automotive engineering careers. He explained that talent exists everywhere, but opportunity does not. His words left the entire audience silent. Victoria later learned about his tragic past. She learned about the engineer he once was. She learned about the family he had lost. And she finally understood something important. The janitor had never stopped being an engineer. The world had simply stopped looking closely enough to see it. In the months that followed, Victoria offered Elias a senior engineering position within her company. Together they launched programs designed to discover overlooked talent from every level of society. Maintenance workers, factory employees, students from struggling communities, people whose gifts might otherwise remain hidden. The initiative transformed countless lives. And every sunny morning, the restored Ferrari sat proudly near the company's entrance. Not as a symbol of wealth. Not as a symbol of success. But as a reminder. A reminder that brilliance can wear ordinary clothes. A reminder that titles do not define talent. A reminder that the person everyone overlooks may be carrying the answer everyone else is searching for. Before we reach the end, please leave a comment saying, "Never underestimate anyone." Those 4 words capture the entire meaning of this unforgettable story. Years later, visitors would ask Victoria what the Ferrari meant to her. She always gave the same answer. It wasn't the car that changed her life. It was the man holding a broom who reminded her that every person deserves to be seen. And if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire. Your support helps bring more inspiring stories of hope, resilience, and unexpected heroes to people around the world. As the afternoon sun reflected from the Ferrari's polished red paint, Victoria stood quietly beside it and smiled. For 5 years, millions of dollars, and countless experts had failed to solve the mystery. But in the end, the answer came from the one person nobody believed in. And sometimes, that is exactly how life works. The greatest treasures are often hidden in the places we least expect, waiting for someone willing to look beyond appearances and recognize the extraordinary within the ordinary.